Okay, today we are replacing a blower motor on a Carrier RTU. Safety first, remember to turn the power off and wear PPE. So here's the old Carrier in question. It's almost 40 years old. The tenant was getting no airflow out of the vents, and I noticed the compressor was starting to ice up. So first we turn off the power, practice lockout, tagout. I found it helps if I write a list of parts and tools I need for a specific job so I don't forget anything on the job. I hope this tip helps you. To power off, we're going to remove this side panel so we can access the blower. See, there's the blower housing. There's a capacitor up there. We need to remove these Tech screws on the top and bottom. That'll help free the blower motor housing from the RTU. And we'll be careful of the wires. We're going to need to cut these wires, but not all of them. A few of these wires go to a high limit switch, so we don't want to cut those. You want to identify your wires. These little stubby screwdrivers work great for tight spaces. I'm going to use this little stubby screwdriver to unscrew the ground wire that attaches to the blower housing here. I'm going to use my screw gun for the rest of these screws. And there's a flange. It's like a double flange. There's a flange on the housing that's sandwiched between the bracket and the RTU body. There's also Tech screws down here. Need to remove those as well. The whole unit comes out. While I'm here, I'm going to inspect the heat exchanger for cracks or pinholes, even though it's not heating season yet. And I'm going to spray a little bit of penetrating oil on the blower shaft, the blower motor shaft. Let it sit for a few minutes. And take some emery cloth or fine sandpaper and sand the rust off of the shaft. You could also probably use like a wire wheel attachment on your drill. And this will just help facilitate the removal of the old motor out of the blower wheel. I'm going to blow out the blower wheel, make sure it's not all dusty and dirty. I'm going to break loose the set screw that holds the blower wheel to the blower motor shaft. You see there's these 3 mounting bolts we'll have to unscrew, and we'll have to disconnect these wires from the motor as well that go to that J box. Just simply cut those off out of the way. We'll go ahead and remove these 3 mounting bolts. Sometimes they pull right out, sometimes they don't. So I have to tap on this one. Could use a puller tool, but a lot of times I find that's not necessary. Or you could use like a MAP gas torch or a little propane torch to heat up the bushing on the blower wheel. Sometimes that helps. So it's getting there, slowly but surely. So I'm going to take this round punch and a hammer and just continue tapping on the shaft to tap the shaft out of the blower wheel. It's coming, it's almost there. There we go. Here's the old motor. We're going to compare side by side with the new motor, the height, the shaft diameter, length. And the wire there actually rubbed through on the blower motor housing is what happened on the actual motor itself and shorted out. We're going to reuse this mounting bracket. There's just a nut and bolt you got to loosen. We'll transfer the mounting bracket over to the new motor. It's a good idea to look at the nameplates, make sure everything matches up, your RPM, your horsepower, voltage, etc. I want to try to get the mounting bracket in the similar location that it was on the old motor, so the motor doesn't sit too high or too low, etc. Then we'll slide the new motor into the old blower wheel. And don't forget those little metal bushings that go inside the rubber grommets. Those are important. And the rubber grommets are still in good condition on the mounting bracket, so that's good. And we're going to tighten down the 3 bolts. You don't want to over tighten the bolts and have them snap off, but you do want to make sure they're snug. And then we want to line up the blower wheel inside the blower housing, right? Because you don't want it rubbing on the housing. So take a minute to just try to evenly line it up so it's evenly spaced on both sides. And then we'll go ahead and tighten up our set screw in there once we're happy with the alignment. Like so. Yep, spins freely. Nothing's rubbing. Good to go. So now we need to do our wire connections. This one has a little J box right here. And on the motor data plate, there's a little wiring schematic. Another tip, you could also take a picture with your smartphone before you start removing the old wires, so you know how the new wires need to be hooked back up. And we're also going to replace a capacitor. So there's your wiring schematic. This is a multi-speed motor. 2 of the hot leads were capped off with wire nuts, and they were just using the black lead on this motor. I'm going to try to route the wires so that they don't rub through on the motor like the old one did. Okay, now that wiring's done inside the J box, we'll move on to our capacitor and our green ground wire. Here's a new capacitor I'll show you in a minute. Do the ground wire first. Just using Tech screws to install the ground wire because the old screw was stripped out. There we go. There's a capacitor. And the old one you always want to short across the terminals just to make sure it's not holding a charge for safety. And remember that little rubber insulator boot for safety. We'll reinstall the little mounting bracket. And I like to write the date. Okay, and just inspecting all my wires while I'm in here to make sure they're not rubbed through or burnt. I'll go ahead and reinstall the blower, being careful not to pinch any of my wires. And pretty self-explanatory. You just reinstall your Tech screws on the top and bottom. And on that foot on the side there, that little support foot. And then we'll make our last few wire connections after that. Yeah, a little multi-stubby screwdriver comes in handy for tight spaces like this. I'll go ahead and install these screws on this little support foot. Got to line up the holes. I'll reinstall my green ground wire up here. Just crimping on a new female spade fitting here. This yellow wire goes to the capacitor. And again, you can take a picture before you start so you know what wires go where. And that black hot leg I also need to connect up next. Okay, now that wires are connected, turn the power back on. Set the thermostat, turn on the blower to cooling mode. Now she's running and spinning in the right direction. Woo! I'll go ahead and check the compressor. You can see and feel that the suction line is nice and cold. Discharge line is warm, so that's good. Compressor is running and working. Next we'll check our condenser cooling fan. It's spinning the proper direction. Good to go. I want to tell you about a practical facilities maintenance handbook available in ebook and paperback format on Amazon.com. The link for this book is in the video description below. It has common facilities, documents, signage, reference and resource material, as well as shop equipment drawings that you can use to fabricate shop equipment for your facility. Again, the link for this book is in the video description below. And if you're looking for hats, mugs, or shirts, or weather-resistant stickers for your facility, there's a link in the video description below for this facility's website where you can purchase these stickers and products you see here. I hope this information helps you. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and thanks for watching.